Some of the Star Citizen community tools are absolutely fantastic, and that's certainly true of the Regolith resources, especially for group activities. So what better way to showcase some of that than to take a group out and do some mining? I'm Forrester, and this gameplay video showcases some mining gameplay with the Prospector overlaid with some of the Regolith session tools. To keep the overall length of the video down, some of the footage has been sped up, and those parts are clearly marked as such, but otherwise this video is a full session end to end. Additionally, some of the Regolith screens are shown as an overlay to explain how the tool has been used. And this is intended to be a gameplay video rather than a guide, although there is a fairly recent mining tutorial available on the channel if that's what you were hoping for. So let's arm those lasers and go do some mining. And so of course the first step is to spawn in the Prospector. A little bit of a kind of strange sight seeing that tiny little ship in the extra large hangar, but when you see that it's the usual Prospector with the fantastic icebreak livery, it's well worth bringing it up. For this one I'm just going to be heading out and doing some surface mining for different rocks in and around the Microtech system, which is home for me. Sometimes that's a little bit easier. And that Prospector looking fantastic. No fancy tricks for this, it's just other than the fancy paint, a stock loadout Prospector. Those are the normal bags on the side. It's the stock mining laser attached to the front, no gadgets or anything like that. For this one it was purely to get out and about, do a little bit of mining and showcase the Regolith tools. And for this one, gonna head across to Calliope. Nice little moon around Microtech. My preferred method with this is to quantum drive to the destination and then just fly down to somewhere on the planet's surface that is nowhere near any of the planetary outposts. That mitigates the chances that you might come across some other players, and frankly, when you're out mining, you probably don't want to be disturbed, so the idea of doing that without coming across other players is definitely preferable. And we'll head down to the surface of the moon and see what we can find. Now, I did mention this is a group mining session. We are joined by another group in a mole, but as is often the case with Star Citizen, crewing up takes a little bit of time. So while they're all getting themselves together, I'm going to go out and do some scouting already. Again, the advantage of using the Regolith tools is with a Regolith session, you can be all doing different things at the same time, and it can still be a coordinated activity. Make my way down here. So this is the Regolith tools. I've set up a session here in Regolith. You can kind of make out the game session in the background, but broadly this is what the session looks like. We've got our different people on the left. We've got work orders for things that are in progress at the top, and then scouting on the bottom, which is where we're going to enter some of the details of the different rocks as we find them. And in this case, I'm going to start entering some details about the first cluster of rocks that I've found. You select the class, which in this case is shale, and this is all from the scan results. You can kind of make it out on the right hand side of the screen. You fill in the details of the rocks and it will do a lot of the sums for you. In this case we've got gold, we've got corundum. Now, one of the other nice things about Regolith is, for those who are interested in getting a little bit more information about different mining locations, the data mining for that became a lot more difficult in recent Star Citizen patch, but Regolith have launched something called the Survey Core, which means that players entering this information actually goes into a wider database of lots of different pieces of information, which can essentially crowdsource a lot of that, which is pretty clever. Now I'm entering all this information manually. The reason I'm doing that is because logistically I find it quite difficult to record a gameplay session at the same time that I'm actually recording a web browser. So I'm doing it on two separate devices, and so what that means is some of the usual tricks that you can use to speed up this data entry, things like screen hooks or taking screenshots, weren't available to me. So I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, writing it in by hand. But as you can see, even doing that, it doesn't take a long time to do. Pretty quick to do. So as I'm entering all of this information about the different rock clusters that it's found, the tool is automatically calculating, okay, so how much in terms of SCU are in each of these rocks, what's the potential value of this one. You can see I've got 215k of gold unlocked here so far, and whilst that rock isn't enough for me to break in this little prospector, that mole that isn't even here yet, that would manage that quite well. And now that I've scanned all of those, that rock cluster appears on the scouting menu, and that doesn't just appear for me in my ship, it will also appear to others that are involved in the session. So anybody else who is in and about, in this case the mole, will be able to see that I've found this group of rocks. They'll be able to see what's in it, they'll be able to say I'm en route, or we're not going to go and mine that one, whatever it is. This rock might be slightly too big for the prospector. So particularly for larger group sessions where you've got multiple people mining, or you might have different people scouting, it's a really handy feature to be able to find things and coordinate the finds. And anyone that's done a lot of mining in Star Citizen will know the actual finding of the rocks is a big chunk of the actual gameplay. This part, the actual breaking, it's another big chunk, but depends on what you enjoy, I suppose. Here's some actual mining gameplay, I suppose, of actually breaking the rocks. In this case, this is something that is big enough for the prospector to manage, even if the scan results reckon it's hard. I think this is fine. Just the normal mining gameplay of keeping that laser power going up until it gets into the optimal zone and then keeping it there. And this is my preferred method. Once I'm in that optimal zone, I just like to try and feather the laser intensity if I can. Keep it moving, and it just warns me if there's been any server instability or anything like that. There we go, that's that rock broken up. Now my preferred style with the prospector is grab materials. I tend not to wait for the perfect rock. I just grab things and get moving. So especially in a situation like this where we've got the molding coming back to this group of rocks, I'm happy just to find some materials, grab them and go. I do think it's a shame after you've scanned a rock that it takes so long to rescan these smaller rocks. I would love it if it was somehow a quicker feature to do after you'd broken the main rock, to just scan the sub rocks. Little prospector shot there for you. %100 gold, I'll have that. though it said 100% gold, the corundum was definitely going up there. Suspicious. Same for that one. 100% gold? I think not. At this point, I'll just... Oh, that's... Where did that other rock go? The big gold rock. Because you might see our friendly neighbourhood mole has just arrived. And that will crack the big rocks. There it is. Firing the laser here just to indicate to the mole crew that this is the big rock, so they can see from the Regolith session which rocks are there, and actually you can mark on the Regolith session as each one is either abandoned, ignored, or finished mining, so you can keep track of the detailed rocks within a cluster as well. But what it doesn't help you with is identifying which rock is which when you're actually on site, and for that use the good old-fashioned laser method. There we go. That rock is starting to break now. There we go. Rock is broken. Scan all the smaller ones. Obviously we're in ×4 speed here, so the mining is looking a lot faster than it perhaps actually is. And since the prospector is half full from this haul anyway, I'll grab what I can get and then head to the refinery deck, I think. And just break up some of these smaller rocks. Know what we're working with. There's a lot of scanning, like this could be much easier, I'm sure. Tidy up the work area because I'm nearly full. And then it's back to the refinery for me. So obviously we've still got the mole on station. That can continue to work those rocks and then be off scouting and finding the next set of rocks. And they can key in the find into Regolith as well. So I know whether it's worth me joining them at that cluster or not. It's a handy little community tool. Interesting, this is just a quick example of using that tool. If you would like to see more different ways that the Regolith tools can be used, be sure to be subscribed to the channel. I've got a more detailed video about some of the other uses of Regolith, not just for mining but also for salvage, which will be coming up on the channel soon. One of my favourite community tools. So here we are back at the refinery deck. We'll show another feature of the session. Can never remember where the elevator is at this one. It's actually right in front of you. So here we are. So this is the refinery deck. You get your usual refinery screen. But with Regolith, what you can do is you can actually log the refinery job. You can put in the details of your refining method, how much of each material you're going to be refining, what the fee is for doing that. And then one of the very neat things is you can keep track of actually when you can pick that up and when you can sell it, and you can distribute shares of that to everybody that was involved in the session. So even if you have somebody who joins the session as, I don't know, a mole laser operator or as a scout, you can type in their names and make sure that you keep track of who's getting a fair share of the refinery jobs. You can enter the expenses as well. I've not bothered for this one. But it's quite a good way of being able to distribute across a group. So, that was a little introduction to a Regolith mining session. If you enjoyed the video, you might press the like button to say I should make more videos like this in future. And if you're not yet subscribed, you might like to do that too, especially with an upcoming Regolith video. But otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.